So let us continue the discussion of salary. In the last lecture, we were discussing the topic of rent-free accommodation. We started some discussion about rent-free accommodation. When the perquisite of accommodation is given to the employee by the employer. If you remember, in the last lecture, I discussed that accommodation can be of three types: unfurnished, furnished, or hotel accommodation. So I was discussing with you in the last lecture unfurnished accommodation. In case of unfurnished accommodation, I need to check whether the employee is a government employee or non-government employee. If the employee is a government employee, then license fee is the value of the house. But of course, from this value to determine the final taxable value, always for every perquisite you have to deduct amount recovered from the employee, or amount paid by the employee, or amount payable by the employee. It doesn't mean that the amount has to be actually paid by the employee. Even if payable, maybe if not paid today, he will pay after 4 months, 5 months, but still whatever is the amount due from the employee in respect of any particular perquisite, that amount is always to be deducted to arrive at the final taxable value of any perquisite. So in case of unfurnished accommodation, when the employee is a government employee, what is the final taxable value? License fee payable by the employee to the employer minus amount recovered from the employee. That is the difference which is payable. And normally in case of government employee, you will find this value as nil, because whatever is the license fee is the value of the perquisite. From this we will deduct amount paid by the employee. So this license fee is the amount which is paid by the employee to the employer, which is government. So in case of government employees, by default you will get your taxable value of accommodation as nil, because the same amount is license fee and the same amount is amount recovered from the employee. Numerical I will discuss today. In case of non-government employee, you need to check two things. Is the accommodation which is given to the employee, is this accommodation owned by the employer, or employer has taken this accommodation on rent? If accommodation is owned by the employer but provided to the employee, if owned by the employer, then you need to check the population of the city where this accommodation is being given to the employee as per 2001 census. If the population exceeds 25 lakh, then value of perquisite is 15% of salary minus amount recovered from the employee. If population exceeds 10 lakh but till 25 lakh, then the value is 10% of salary minus amount recovered from the employee. If population does not exceed 10 lakh, then the value is 7.5% of salary minus amount recovered from the employee. This is how we determine the value of unfurnished accommodation when the accommodation is given to a non-government employee and that accommodation is owned by the employer. If accommodation is taken on rent by the employer, then you are not concerned with the population of the city where accommodation is provided. The answer is flat. Rent paid or payable by the employer to any third party, or 15% of salary, whichever is less. From this value you deduct amount recovered from the employee. This was what I discussed in the last lecture. Let me show you these slides. So these are three different types of perquisites as far as accommodation is concerned: unfurnished, furnished, or hotel accommodation. Then, in case of government of India, if the employee is a government employee, then license fee is the value of perquisite. But from this license fee, you have to deduct amount recovered from the employee. Normally, in case of government employee, whatever is the license fee, for example 12,000, the same amount is the amount which is paid by the employee. So value in case of government employee in respect of accommodation normally becomes nil. For non-government employee, this is the table. If you remember, if accommodation owned by the employer, if accommodation taken on rent by the employer, if rent by the employer, then there is no need to check the population. This is the answer. In case accommodation owned by the employer, then check the population of the city as per 2001 census, and that gives different values. Please raise your hand if you remember this point. Now I'll start discussing some numericals with you. If you remember this point, please raise your hands. Okay, so let me discuss small numericals. So let me discuss a small illustration from my book, page 4.29. Now the illustration states that X is employed by the Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Finance, Government of India. So X is employed by the Government of India. That means X is a government employee. During the previous year 2021, he gets an unfurnished recommendation from the government whose license fee is rupees 700 per month. The market rent of this accommodation is 2,60,000 per month. License fee only 700, but market rent 2,60,000 per month. In this case, the value of perquisite in respect of accommodation is how much? Can you tell me the value of unfurnished accommodation in this example, in this illustration? How much is the value of unfurnished accommodation? Can you tell me the value of unfurnished accommodation which is taxable? That value which is taxable in the hands of this person X.
Sir, 8,400.
How?
सो 700 तो लाइसेंस फी है और फिर वो 1 मंथ की है. हमने अगर एज्यूम कर ले कि वो पूरे साल ही रहा है.
एज्यूम करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, पूरे साल ही रहा होगा. ये एज्यूम करने की क्या जरूरत है?
यस, पूरे साल ही रहा होगा.
So answer is 8,400. Market rent doesn't matter. Second thing, though employee always pay license fee, but until and unless in my question it is mentioned that this amount is recovered from the employee, or employee has given this license fee, then I cannot assume myself that this license fee is also paid by the employee. Question was simply giving an information to me that license fee is 700 per month, but they are not mentioning that the employee is giving this license fee to the government. In real life, normally employee gives, but if my question doesn't say this, I will not assume that employee is giving this license fee. And market rent doesn't matter. So what is the value of unfurnished accommodation in case of government employee? 8,400. 700 into 12. Please raise your hand if this example is clear. So most of you are clear in this with this example. Another example or another illustration. That illustration is on page 4.30. from my book, Concept Building Approach. The illustration says that it is illustration 1 on this page, illustration number 1. So let me tell you the brief points only. X is a non-government employee. He got the residential accommodation from the company in Noida for the period during 16 July 20 to 31st Jan 21. So the period during which he got the accommodation. July 20 till 31st Jan 21. The accommodation is owned by the company. Another point is accommodation owned by the employer. That means employer has not taken the accommodation on rent. Accommodation is owned by the employer. Noida's population as per 2001 census is 6,50,000. This is what question says. Noida's population and this is the actual population of Noida in 2000 as per 2001 census 650. But now you can see the population of Noida. So it shows that employment opportunities, development brings people or helps in migration of the people. Now you can see the population of Noida, but as per 2001 census, it was only 6,50,000, which was very less. But because of development, MNCs which came there and settled, that helped in increasing the population. Of course, as well as why the population was increased, because employment opportunities were provided. People came and settled now in Noida. Hospitals, we have big hospitals in Noida, big schools in Noida now. MNCs in Noida. So because of this, now you can see the population, it has increased manifold. Salary for the purpose of perquisite of accommodation is 8,90,000 for the previous year 2021. Now everywhere in accommodation I am using the word salary. I have not yet told you how do we compute salary for the purpose of accommodation. But let us assume that it has been given to you in the question, which is 8,90,000. X has to pay 1,000 per month to the employer for his accommodation. So this is the amount payable by the employee in respect of this accommodation. Amount payable by the employee in respect of accommodation. $1,000 per month. Now, can you tell me the answer in this case? Can you tell me the final answer, taxable value of perquisite? By applying the theory, you should try this. Taxable value of unfurnished accommodation. Final answer.
Sir, 54,750.
So 54,750.
Wrong. 54,750 is wrong.
Sir, 11,100.
Wrong. How you go to 11,100? $11,100 कैसे निकाला आपने?
Sir, 7.5% of salary minus rent recoverable from employee.
ये तो नहीं आएगा फिर. You check it again. Any person who has got the answer? Anyone? Jeev, you got the answer? apply the theory which you have written and simply compute the value. It's very easy. You have to simply apply the concept.
Sir, 54. Sir, 60,250.
50,000 to 50.
Sir, 60,000.
No, wrong answer. Try it. Everyone should try.
Sir, 54,750.
Wrong answer. Let everyone try. Think carefully.
So 59,750.
Wrong. It's very easy. Just think carefully. Everyone should try. Just apply the theory and then try to get the value which is taxable in the hands of the employee in this case. I'm still waiting for your answer. Read that concept and simply apply the logic. You are doing a silly mistake.
Sir, 29656.
Yes, 29656 is the correct answer. How you have derived it?
Sir, actually, I firstly calculate salary for 6.5 months.
Everything should be calculated for 6.5 months. Because when I provided the perquisite, I have been provided the accommodation from 16 July 20. So why will I compute the value of April, May, June and first half month of July? Further, why will I compute the value for Feb and March 21? I will compute the value only for the period when the perquisite was provided. So 16th July 20 till 31st Jan 21. How many months? July half month, then August, September, October, November, December, Jan 6 months. So it becomes 6.5 months, 6.5 months. So it's very simple. First of all, employee non-government. Now how presentation should be there, that you can refer from my book or from any other material which you are referring. That since the employee is a non-government employee who has been provided in an accommodation which was owned by the employer, and it is provided in a city whose population does not exceed 10 lakh as per 2001 census, the value of perquisite is calculated as follows. So this is the language or line which you should write. Non-government employee got the accommodation which is owned by the employer in that city whose population does not exceed 10 lakh as per 2001 census. So the value is calculated as follows. 7.5% of salary. Salary was 8,90,000, but this is for the entire year. In reality, I should divide it by 12 so that I get the value of per month, and I should multiply it by 6.5. So it comes out to be 890 into 7.5% divided by 12 into 6.5. 36156 less rent recovered from the employee. Recovered doesn't mean that by force it is recovered. Okay, recovered is just used in the sense that this is the amount of rent which either has been actually paid or will be paid. So I'm not going to apply the concept of due or receipt here. In perquisite, you simply check the amount which will be paid by the employee. If not today, maybe after 2 years, after 3 years, doesn't matter. Don't go by the word actual paid. Okay, this is the amount of rent which will be recovered from the employee, not by force, but it is recoverable from the employee. Only for, of course, 6.5 months. So if 1,000 per month was recovered from me, then ultimately it reduces my benefit by 6,500. and this is the taxable value which I will write when I'll compute my salary. Taxable value of unfurnished accommodation. And that is 65.
The 29656.
29656. Please raise your hand if now you got the answer or if you have understood this point. I will pay the tax only for that period during which I occupied any perquisite. Why will I pay the tax for the entire year? So this is the mistake which you were committing, I think. Let everyone check and raise the hands if they have understood this point in detail. When you compute any perquisite, just one thing should be in your mind, that what is the benefit to the employee in that case? How much employee has saved, or how much expenditure employee would have incurred had he purchased that perquisite. So just logically you should think in this direction, that had employee himself got that perquisite from own money, what would have been the loss to the employee? Now because employer has given this perquisite, that loss has been avoided by the employee and it became my saving. My saving becomes income for the purpose of paying income tax to the government of India. Very good. Next point now.
हेलो हेलो
Yes,
सर
yes, yes, yes.
सर अगर सेम एग्जांपल में अगर डेट 23 या 24 होता तो 24 जुलाई
तो हम डेज के हिसाब से निकालते हैं. That for July I would have taken, for example, 24, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. I would have computed for the month of July the perquisite of 8 days. That's it.
ओके सर थैंक यू.
Okay. तो कोई ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई बिगिनिंग मिडल या एंड होगा. अगर एक दिन के लिए मिल रही है ये परक्यूजिट तो एक दिन के लिए निकाली जाएगी, बट दैट इज ओनली फॉर दिस परक्यूजिट. देयर विल बी सम परक्यूजिट्स, आई विल टेल यू, where even if you avail that perquisite for one day, you have to compute the benefit of entire month. Okay. Point clear or not?
Yes sir.
So you cannot generalize this conclusion. In this case, I am saying that perquisite is to be computed, value is to be computed for accommodation only for that period during which it is occupied. If it is occupied for 2 days, compute the value of 2 days. But this logic is not applicable for all other perquisites. There might be some perquisites where even if you have availed that perquisite for one day, you have to compute the value for entire month. Point clear or not?
Yes sir.
Okay. So let me proceed. Now in the same example, if I make a change. So again from my book itself, this was illustration 1, and now let me proceed with illustration 2. In the same illustration, I am making some changes, and that has become illustration 2. So the change is that, same illustration going on, but the change is now that accommodation is not owned by the employer. Accommodation not owned by the employer. Employer itself has taken this accommodation on a rent of 12,000 per month. So this accommodation is taken on rent. Rent payable by the employer. Now employer himself or itself has taken the rent, has taken this accommodation on rent, and what rent is payable by the employer is 12,000 per month. But do you know market rent of this accommodation is 22,000 per month. everything is same. So what is happening is this is the accommodation. In earlier case, this accommodation was owned by the employer. ER means employer. Now what is happening? This accommodation is taken on rent by the employer. Suppose this accommodation belongs to X Limited. This employer is Y Limited. The employee is working with Y Limited. This is what which is happening. Employee is working with Y Limited. Y Limited gave to the employee a house, and Y from the employee, the Y Limited is charging how much amount? How much amount from employee Y Limited is charging?
12,000 per month.
1,000 per month. 12,000 तो खुद दे रहा है किसी और को. Point clear or not? Rent payable by the employer. Y Limited is charging only 1,000 per month from the employee, but in reality, Y Limited is giving itself to X Limited for the same house, rupees 12,000 per month. Can you understand what is going on? I am Y Limited. To my employee, for my employee's benefit, I am giving him a house for which from my employee I am simply charging 1,000 per month. But this house which I am giving to my employee is not owned by me. I also have taken this house on rent from any third party, which is X Limited. And in reality to X Limited, I am paying 12,000 per month. In fact, the market rent of this house is 22,000 per month. Is this structure clear? If yes, raise your hand. The chart which I have prepared, is this chart clear? That Y Limited is an employer. Y Limited has taken an accommodation at 12,000 per month. But the same accommodation for which Y Limited is giving to a third party 12,000 per month, Y Limited is collecting only 1,000 per month, just a nominal rent from the employee. Now, if the situation is clear, can you tell me that how much is the value of the perquisite? And I told you that whenever you compute any perquisite, just think that as an employee, just think that had you been there where now the employer is, what loss you would have incurred? Had you been there in the place of the employer, what loss you would have incurred? So what you are saving, that loss now you are not incurring because you got it from the employer. So that loss which you saved is nothing but your income, and you pay the tax as per tax department policy. Now, can you tell me the answer in this case? Think logically and do. It's very simple. Just think in one direction, that what loss you have avoided. Think logically and tell. Think logically and tell, and I'm waiting for the answer.
So taxable value is 65,812.
Let me check. Can anyone confirm whether this is the correct answer or not? Yes, it is the correct answer. Can you explain how you have computed it?
Yes, sir. Sir,
Yes.
first we have to take the 15% of the salary.
Why you have to explain from beginning that employee is non-government. Accommodation. What? Accommodation what? Owned by the employer or taken on rent? Taken on rent by the employer. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
If this is the situation, then population of city does not matter. What is the value? 15% of salary. Salary is how much? 890 multiplied by
Sir,
what?
6.5 divide by 12.
Yes. How much is this value? $72,312 यही आएगा क्या? 72312 और rent payable by the employer. Till this point there is no role of employer. 12,000 per month into 6.5.
Sir, 78,000.
78. Now which is lower?
Sir, 72,312.
Yes, 12.5. I can roughly write 313 also. Otherwise, 12.5 should be written in reality, because you round off only the final income of all the years, not every perquisite. But for graduation level, we can write it. Now, this is the estimated loss which I have avoided. That's it. This is not the logic which goes on into the mind while calculating this perquisite. Had I took this accommodation myself, this much is the loss or this much is the expense which I had to incur. So that becomes my value. But I'm already incur how much expenditure. So this amount recovered from the employee is reducing my benefit. Think logically. How much you are saving, that's it. This becomes your income. And the difference is $66, $813 or $812, whatever. I think this calculation is wrong. 3-1. It is 11 minus 6, 5. It is 65. It is 65,813. Please raise your hand if this question is clear to everyone. So calculation is not tough. Just one thing should go in your mind, that how much you are saving, that's it. The expenditure which you would have incurred had you himself took the perquisite, that becomes your saving, because now employer is giving this perquisite to you. Next point now. So I've discussed with you unfurnished accommodation as well as unfurnished accommodation to the government employee as well as non-government employee. Now I'm moving towards next accommodation, which is furnished accommodation. Suppose this is not unfurnished, furnished accommodation, then what would happen? So many times I get furnished accommodation also. Furniture is also there, AC, bed, dressing, everything is available. So now I'm moving to my next perquisite, furnished accommodation. So this was unfurnished. This was unfurnished. Okay, unfurnished I have discussed. Furnished now. How do you determine the value of furnished accommodation? So whether the employee is a government employee, non-government employee, the value of determining furnished accommodation does not change. So what is the common rule? Step 1. First you assume that the accommodation is unfurnished. Assume the accommodation as unfurnished. You assume that it is not furnished. You assume the value as unfurnished and calculate the value. And calculate the value of unfurnished accommodation. But when you determine the value of unfurnished accommodation, there you have to be careful whether the employee is a government employee or non-government. Because for government employee, license fee is taxable. For non-government, it depends upon the population. So because now in step 1, you are assuming that the accommodation is unfurnished. And when you got the value, you simply add the value of furniture, you get the answer. Step 2. Add the value of furniture. In the value arrived at step 1, it's very simple. So furniture value does not matter whether you are a government employee or non-government. Furniture remains same. Furniture तो जितने का एक government employee के लिए non government के लिए भी उतने का है, कोई इसमें change है ही नहीं. So add the value of furniture in the value arrived at step 1. Step 1 is giving you unfurnished accommodation value, and step 2 tells that this value to be added. Now just like accommodation can be owned by the employer or taken on rent by the employer, same happens with furniture. It is possible that the furniture is owned by the employer, or it is also possible that AC, bed, these are also taken on rent by the employer. So if furniture is owned by the employer, then what will happen? And if furniture is taken on rent by the employer, then what will happen? Just think logically that what saving you have done or what loss you have avoided. Now, had I owned the furniture, in this case, what is mentioned is that you add the value of furniture. Why I am adding this value? Because as per the policy of this rule of determining the value of furnished accommodation, you are simply thinking in one direction that how much loss you have avoided. You got the furniture, it's great. But had you yourself purchased the furniture, can you tell me what loss you would have incurred logically? Can you tell me, had you yourself owned the furniture, purchased the furniture, what loss would have been to you? Any answer? Logically.
Amount paid for furniture.
Sir, can you please repeat the question?
Yeah. While determining any perquisite, only one purpose revolves around in my mind, that how much loss I have avoided just because employer has given me that perquisite. Same is the point happening here. I first assume that the accommodation is unfurnished and will calculate the value as per the provisions of unfurnished accommodation, and on this value, in that value, I will simply add the value of furniture which has been provided to me. But two assumptions can apply, or two things can happen, two situations can arise. Is this furniture owned by the employer, which has been given to me as an employee, or is the furniture itself is taken on rent by the employer and given to me as an employee? Now I am asking a question, had you purchased the furniture yourself, what would have been the loss to you, which now you are avoiding because your employer has given that furniture? Had your employer not given you the furniture and you purchased that furniture yourself, what would have been a rational loss to you? Any answer? Logically, what loss you would have incurred had you yourself owned the furniture?
Sir, amount of furniture.
For example, furniture is of 50,000, so you will say that 50,000 is loss. Is it so?
Yes, sir.
No, not 100% correct. Because this furniture is not having 1 year life. I am computing the value of how many years? This perquisite value is to be computed for how many years? 1 year maximum. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So on an average, your assets depreciate by 10% per year on an average. On an average, you can say that the furniture which I will purchase today, it will be having negligible value after 10 years. So this is what the loss which you have avoided had you purchased the furniture yourself. You take the car, you purchase the car, every year 10% depreciation will be there. So there is a loss, a rational loss. So this loss you have avoided and it becomes a value for you. So whenever furniture is owned by the employer, the value of furniture is equal to 10% per annum of actual cost, not return on value, actual cost. Now it is simply a way to bring uniformity, that on an average, the lawmakers thought that when furniture is owned by the employer, the loss which is avoided by the employee in that case is 10% per annum of actual cost. Please raise your hand if you have understood this logic. When you go by the logic, then you will start understanding the concept of perquisite very clearly. While determining any perquisite, just one thing I am assuming, or just one thing I am thinking, that what loss I have avoided because of that perquisite which was provided by the employer to me. तो यही फर्नीचर अगर एम्प्लॉयर ने खरीद लिया तो मेरा 10% जो डेप्रिसिएशन होता अगर मैं खुद खरीदता तो वो अब नहीं होगा. So it has become a saving for me. And government says if it is saving, it's nothing but your income, so pay the tax. Very good. Now, can you think logically? If this furniture is taken on rent by the employer, what loss I have avoided here? If the furniture is taken on rent by the employer, what loss I have avoided?
Amount of rent.
Yes. जो रेंट आज मेरा एम्प्लॉयर दे रहा है वो मुझे देना पड़ता है. In that case, provision says that your value of furniture is equal to rent charges paid or payable. Don't get confused with the word actually paid or not. Never argue in any perquisite whether it is actually paid or not. Even if payable after many years, still it is allowed, or still the value is to be taken, because this is the normal expected expenditure. We are not going into that detail whether it has been actually paid or not. पे हुआ या नहीं हुआ कोई बात नहीं, पर कम से कम ये है कि इतना एक्सपेंस तो हुआ होता. Rent charge is paid or payable by the employer. This total gives me what? Step 1 gives me unfurnished value. Step 2, add the value of furniture, and I will get value of furnished accommodation. So how I got the value of furnished accommodation? Value of unfurnished accommodation plus furniture. That's it. And do you remember what one thing I have to always deduct? Can you tell me what one thing I have to always deduct?
Rent recovered from employer.
Very good. Or you can simply write rent or amount recovered from the employee, because it ultimately
Amount
reduces
recovered
my
from-
benefit from the employee. Recovered word, don't use it in strict sense. It is not forcefully recovery. It is simply a point. And this is the final answer. Let me give an illustration for you to solve. I think that you can try, or you should try.
सर एक बार वो दिखा दो पिछले वाली स्लाइड 1 सेकंड के लिए.
हाँ जी, ये लो. 1 सेकंड क्यों? 1 सेकंड से ज्यादा देखिए. अच्छा, can you tell me some examples that what is this furniture? What can be this furniture? Any example? What can be this furniture? क्या फर्नीचर हो सकता है इस हाउस में?
Sir, chairs, tables.
Yes, chair, table, air conditioner, kitchen appliances, television, etc. That's it. Shall I proceed if noted down?
Yes, sir.
Think logically. Always think logically in this case. That is why I'm explaining. I'm not simply telling you that 10% is the answer. You must know why 10%. It's only logical. That's it. So let us discuss again an illustration from my book, Concept Building Approach. Page 4.31. You have to compute the answer yourself. I will simply tell you some figures. X is a Government of India employee. On July 1, 20, he got the accommodation. He got the accommodation. License fee is 500 per month. He also got furniture. He got furniture also from employer. He got furniture also from the employer. And he got two furnitures, furniture 1, F1, furniture 1. This furniture he got on 1st September. House he got on 1st July, but furniture he got on 1st September 20. Think logically, you have to. This furniture was a refrigerator. And this furniture is owned by the government, owned by the employer, because he is a government employee, so owned by the government. Actual cost of this furniture when it was purchased, actual cost on 6 July 2016, 6 July 2016 when it was purchased, was 10,000 rupees. But it's returned on value because now it was purchased long ago in 2016. Its WDV on first day of my previous year, which is 1st April 2020, is only rupees 3,700. Then another furniture is also provided. This furniture I got on 31st December 20. And this furniture was 2 air conditioners, 2 ACs, which are taken on hire charges, hired by the employer. And the hire charges are 4,500 per month per AC. Per month per AC. The employee pays rupees 20,000 for getting this accommodation to the employer. Now you have to tell me the value and you tell me yourself. I'm waiting for the answer value. Do remember that this is a furnished accommodation. Furnished. So first you have to assume that the accommodation is unfurnished and determine the value. In this value, you simply deduct the value of furniture, you get the value of furnished accommodation. From this deduct amount recovered from the employee and you get the taxable value of furnished accommodation. So I'm waiting for the answer. Take your time. I'm giving you 2 minutes and then do. Try to get the answer.
Sir, 4,500 is for per AC or for both ACs?
Anyone got the answer? What is the value of unfurnished accommodation? What is the value of unfurnished accommodation? Any answer? Unfurnished accommodation. In this example illustration, what is the value of unfurnished accommodation? Ignore the value of furniture. What is the value of unfurnished accommodation?
500.
How much?
Sir, 4,500.
Yes. So value of unfurnished accommodation is 4,500. That is correct. Value of unfurnished accommodation is 4,500. Why 4,500? Because employee is a government employee, and in case of government employee, license fee is taxable. And the accommodation was provided on 1st July. So from July to March. Very good. This is correct. So it will be for 500 into 9, and that is 4,500. Now in this, you have to add the value of furniture. Can you tell me the value of furniture 1? What is the value of furniture 1? Anyone who has determined it? Think logically and proceed. These are not tough questions. Apply your mind carefully.
Sir, 580.
580?
3.
Very good.
3.
How 583 you have determined?
Sir, 10% of actual cost. This
So
is
WDV
that
doesn't-
is 1,000.
Yes,
And
WDV doesn't matter, that means. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, correct. So from September, October, November, December, Jan, Feb, March, 7 months. I hope you have got the answer, 583. Anyone who can tell me the answer of furniture 2? Sanjeev, you got the answer of furniture 2?
Yes, sir. 27,000.
Yes, 100% correct. So 4,500 per month per AC, so multiplied by 2 ACs, multiplied by how many months? It was given to me on 31st Jan. So there is no need that for one day always we will compute the value of perquisite. You should not say that it was given on 31st December, so 3 full months, Jan, Feb, March, and then 1 day of December. No, such things can be avoided. There is no issue. Whenever the ending date is beginning of the month, middle of the month, or end of the month, or whenever the perquisite, anything which is provided in the beginning, middle, or end, then on what you can say, on approximate basis, I can take as full month, half month, or no month. That's it. So since it was provided on 31st December, I am ignoring the month of December. I am saying that complete approximate full 3 months. That's it. Why by 12? So this is by mistake. I should not have written 12. This is the value of total furniture, 27,583. This is the value of furnished accommodation. Not the taxable value, only value. Okay, from this you deduct amount recovered from the employee. How much is the recovery?
Sir, 20,000.
Yes, flat. $12,008. This is the taxable value of accommodation. Furnished accommodation. In fact, to be very precise, I should use the word furnished accommodation. Please raise your hand if you got the answer. If this Calculation is clear? Please raise your hand. So most of you got the answer. Next, third accommodation is hotel accommodation. So my third accommodation is hotel accommodation. So whenever the accommodation is provided in a hotel, normally hotel accommodation is always furnished. ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता कि आप होटल में जाएंगे तो अपने कपड़े वपड़े डबल बेड वगैरह सब साथ लेके जाएंगे. तो नॉर्मली इन होटल यू विल गेट नॉट अनफर्निश्ड accommodation कि कुछ भी नहीं है बस एक होटल है. नो, यू गेट फर्निश्ड accommodation. So value should be high little bit. Your saving is little bit high. Had you took the hotel on rent, what rent you would have paid? That is now your saving because the employer has provided you. So when it is hotel accommodation, the value is 24% of salary. 24% of salary or hotel tariff paid by the employer, paid or payable, whatever. Hotel charges paid. Never get confused with the word actual paid. It can be paid or payable by the employer to that hotel. So out of this, whichever is lower, government says indirectly you are saving that amount. So that is your value. From this minus, always you should deduct amount recovered from the employee. It is your taxable value of hotel accommodation. That's it. This is the taxable value of hotel accommodation. So let me discuss a small numerical. Again, illustration from my book. Page 4.32. Concept building approach. So the illustration is, for example, I have been X is an employee who has been given accommodation in a hotel. So many times hotel accommodation is given, maybe because the accommodation is not ready. So in the meantime, employee can be provided a hotel accommodation. Employer कह सकता है कि आप एक महीने होटल में रहिए, तब तक आपकी accommodation हम ready कर देते हैं. For 2 months. For 2 months the accommodation was provided. In the previous year 2021 by his employer. Salary for the purpose of accommodation is 20 lakh. I will now teach you how to compute salary for the purpose of accommodation, but let me assume that it is given 20 lakh. For the previous year 2021, hotel charges for these 2 months 60,000 per month. Hotel charges paid by the employer are 60,000 per month. X has paid 600 per month. Employee has paid how much? Only 600 per month to the employer. To the employer for using this accommodation. Can you tell me the value of accommodation now? I need the final answer. No calculation. I will show you now. It's very easy. Can you tell me the answer of the taxable value of this hotel accommodation? I need the final answer.
So 78,000.
I think 78,000 is the wrong answer. I think. Others, please check whether 78,000 is the correct answer or not.
Sir, 78,800.
Yes, 78,800 is the correct answer.
Sir, I also said this.
Okay, so I I got to listen that you said, I think 78,000. If you have said 78,800, then that is perfectly fine. There is no issue. Please raise your hand. If everyone got the answer 78,800, those who are not getting, please try. Let me see how many of you have got the answer 78,800. Only 5. So others, please continue trying this question and see whether you are getting 78,800 or not. Only 8. That means others are still trying. Please try. Hurry up, please try. Okay, so I'm proceeding now. Next concept. I have discussed with you 3 types of accommodation: unfurnished, furnished, and hotel. But before these words, unfurnished, that is only for your knowledge. There is nothing to explain. Furnished or hotel. I can use this word also, rent-free unfurnished or rent-free furnished accommodation or rent-free hotel accommodation. Such words you can also find. Or rather than these words, so I'm completing the sentence now. I can also say that after these words, I can add some other words also. Like suppose these are the words unfurnished, furnished, and hotel. Rather than adding rent-free before, I can add that furnished accommodation at concessional rent, furnished or unfurnished at concessional rent, hotel accommodation at concessional rent. Can you explain me the difference in these 2 headings? These 2, I can add rent-free words before this, or I can add at concessional rent, these 3 words after these words. Can you tell me the difference between these 2?
Sir, rent-free is not paying anything and concessional rent is a nominal charge only.
Yeah, so I can say that in all my perquisites, you are 100% correct. In all my perquisites, wherever I deducted amount rent, where I have deducted amount recovered from the employee. Like in this case, there was a point X has paid 600 per month to the employer. So do you know which perquisite precisely it was? Hotel accommodation at what?
Concessional rate.
Concessional rent. It was not rent free because I was giving 600 per month. That was nominal, but it was not rent free. This thing you should remember, for concepts only. Like in this example, I was paying 20,000 rent. So this furnished accommodation was also what? Furnished accommodation at concessional rent. It was not rent free furnished accommodation. Similarly, in the previous example also I was giving 6,500 rent. It was also unfurnished accommodation at concessional rent and not rent-free unfurnished accommodation. This is the only difference between the words rent-free or at concessional rent. Wherever you pay some amount, even if rupee 1, it becomes you cannot call it as rent-free. It becomes at concessional rent. Please raise your hand if you have understood this question. This point, not question. This point. Very good. So let me discuss now miscellaneous points of this topic. Valuation calculation is over. So let me discuss some notes of this perquisite. Some points to be noted. First point, when this perquisite is tax-free, when the perquisite of accommodation is tax-free, there are some exemptions available, but in respect of each perquisite, we have separate rules and regulations. So when perquisite of accommodation is not taxable, or you can say is exempt from tax. First point. When hotel accommodation is provided for 15 days maximum, when hotel accommodation is provided to the employee for a maximum period of 15 days in a year, in case of transfer from one place to another. This is first point. Whenever my job is transferred from one place to another, so maybe just because of shifting of job from one place to another, might be for 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days, I will be allowed to stay in a hotel. Then in that case, government says that it is a routine happening which can happen. It is a routine. This type of providing accommodation is routine accommodation. There is no personal benefit to the employee in this case. So if till 15 days, if you have been given accommodation when you are being transferred, then government says there is no need to pay any tax. There is no personal saving to you. We will not apply that logic in this case, that had you took the accommodation, this hotel accommodation on rent even for 2 days, what you would have paid to that hotel. This logic is not applied here. Till 15 days in case of transfer from one place to another, so many times employee needs hotel accommodation to get settled properly. So till 15 days, if it is tax free. Beyond 15 days, then you have to pay the tax. Then government will say that now you are staying for your own convenience. Similarly, second, when accommodation is provided to an employee. Now this accommodation can be furnished, unfurnished, hotel, doesn't matter, to an employee working in mining site where minings are happen. In so many states, like in Chhattisgarh, we have mining, where we have a huge forest area, then there the mining happens. Delhi में mining नहीं होती है, पहले होती होगी, अब तो बिल्कुल नहीं होती है. So in India, there are so many places which are in remote areas or where some mining happens. Now there it becomes the obligation of the employer to provide accommodation. Otherwise कोई employee जाएगा नहीं वहाँ काम करने के लिए. Mining and similarly, when we explore natural gas, oil from beneath the sea, तो आपने देखा कभी oceans में वो बना होता है onshore installation. In the middle of the ocean, you will find that there is a technical word of that. I have forgotten that. Offshore installation. उसका एक टेक्निकल वर्ड होता है कुछ, जहाँ पेट्रोलियम एक्सट्रैक्ट होता है, नेचुरल गैस. तो वहां तो एकोमोडेशन देनी पड़ेगी किसी को. So accommodation, if provided to an employee working in mining site or offshore means किनारे से दूर, मतलब समुद्र के बीच में कहीं, offshore installation. Installation of offshore installation, or you can say site, which we use to extract natural gas, petroleum, etc. Which is, within this there is a condition, if these are located in a remote area. In 99.999% cases, these are always located in a remote area. from where the city or any village is far away, maybe 50 kilometers away from the nearest place where people are living. So normally in mining sites, offshore installation or such sites, if these sites are located in a remote area, or if not in a remote area, maybe nearby any village, but which is located not less than 8 kilometers away, which is located not less than 8 kilometers away from municipality. मतलब शहर से 8 किलोमीटर दूर है कम से कम. So not located or located not less than 8 kilometer away from municipality, कम से कम 8 किलोमीटर दूर है. So in those circumstances, the perquisite of accommodation is not taxable in the hands of the employee, because in that case normally it is assumed that there is no benefit which is happening to the employee, or no employee will come to do the job if they have to take accommodation in such areas. So there the accommodation provided is totally tax-free in the hands of the employee. This is first point. Next point. So these are some notes which I am discussing. What do you mean by salary for this purpose? Can you tell me what is the salary for leave encashment? Do you remember salary for leave encashment?
Sir, basic salary.
बस बेसिक सैलरी होती है. DA forming part, then
commission based on 6%.
Yes. But salary for the purpose of this accommodation is totally different. It includes basic salary, DNS allowance forming part, and then there is a huge change. Then all taxable value of allowances, even if other allowances they are also included, but only the taxable values. What do I mean by taxable value? For example, education allowance received is 40,000, out of which, for example, exempt is 1,000, for example. What is the value remaining? 39,000. So I will add here 39,000. That is why I have written taxable value of allowances. All allowances will become part of this salary, but only taxable values. That means after deducting exemption, whatever is the figure that you add. Similarly, oh, that's it. Let me simplify it. It does not include what? That you should also remember. It does not include what? It does not include any perquisite. No perquisite will be included, even if you have determined the value, but perquisites will not be a part of this salary. Any perquisite will be totally excluded while computing salary. And when I'm saying all taxable value of allowances, I should also add the word all taxable value of monetary benefits. All taxable monetary benefits. Whatever are those? What are monetary benefits like leave encashment, gratuity? These all are monetary benefits, all taxable values to be added. But it does not include any perquisite. Similarly, lump sum payment of retirement benefits. Like leave encashment, lump sum payment of retirement benefits, like gratuity, leave encashment, provident fund, etc. What are lump sum payment of retirement benefits you receive? That should be excluded. But can you tell me what is the difference here when I am saying that all taxable monetary benefits to be added, but at the same time in second point I am saying that all lump sum payments of retirement benefit not to be included. Can you tell me what is the difference between these? If these benefits, etc., if these are received during continuity, it will be added. If you are receiving gratuity, leave, encashment during continuity of job, you have to add those benefits to determine salary. But if the same benefits are received at the time of retirement, then you cannot add those benefits for the purpose of determining salary. Further, every year when you contribute towards provident fund, employer's contribution towards provident fund, interest credited in provident fund, that are not to be added. So what you cannot include? Employer's contribution towards provident fund. And interest credited in that provident fund, that also should not be a part of salary for the purpose of determining salary to be used for determining the value of accommodation. Interest credited to PF, that you cannot add. Third point, just like HRA, here also salary is to be taken on due basis. Salary is taken on due basis in respect of the period. Same thing, same concept, just like HRA, because HRA is also of allowance of house. This is also in house. The only difference is HRA is given as cash, it is given in non-cash. Salary is taken on due basis in respect of the period during which accommodation is provided to the employee. So if employer has given the accommodation for 3 months, for those 3 months salary is to be computed on due basis. If others period salary has received in this 3 months period, I will not include it. And if any month salary which is of this 3 month is not received, I will include it because it was due in my period. So it does not matter what is received, when it is received, it is to be taken on due basis. Is my voice coming? Is my voice coming?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this call was dropped because of poor net connection anyhow. So let us come back to that slide. I hope it is not visible to you. Okay, so what I was discussing with you was just you tell me one thing. I hope the meeting is recorded. Is it? For example, accommodation was given by my employer. My employer provided me the accommodation from July to December, but I occupied that accommodation. I occupied the accommodation in August. So I occupied the accommodation from August to December. I hope the point is clear. My employer provided me the accommodation from July to December, but I occupied it from August to December. Can you tell me in this case for how many months I will compute the perquisite? 6 months or 5 months?
Sir, 6 months.
6 months or 5 months? Any other answer? 6 months. Yes, 6 months is the correct answer. So I can say that if accommodation is provided to the employee, value of perquisite must be calculated. Even if it is not used by the employee. Because employer has provided, either you should have denied it, but you accepted it. Not using it doesn't make any sense. This is what which is mentioned in a case by Delhi High Court in 1984. There was a case of Delhi High Court in 1984 where the High Court has said that, ruled that if accommodation is provided to the employee, value of perquisite must be calculated even if the employee has not used it because of his or her own convenience. That's it. Now these are the concepts, and now you tell me this salary. Let me discuss an example from again my book, Concept Building Approach. It is on page number 4.33. You tell me this salary in this example. This is previous year 2021 figure. Basic salary per month 80,000. DNS allowance per month 20,000. 60% forming part. Commission fixed. Commission is not based on fixed percentage, it is fixed commission and it is per annum. 50,000. Children education allowance received for 2 children per month 800. Perquisite of domestic servant I have not yet discussed with you, but for example I'm telling you the direct answer. Perquisite of domestic servant, when watchman, sweeper, gardener, these people are provided at employee's home, it's also a perquisite. So that value itself is calculated and given to you, because the purpose of this question is to tell you how to compute salary for the purpose of accommodation. 1,20,000. Gratuity received at the time of retirement. ₹13 lakh. And X as a received salary of April 21. rupees 80,000 in March 21 itself. Can you tell me in this case how much is the purpose, how much is the value of salary to determine accommodation, which is given in the previous year, 2021? This is the answer which I am asking from you. Think logically and try to compute the answer. I have to compute the salary for the purpose of determining accommodation, which this employee has been provided with during the previous year 2021, and these figures are available: basic salary, fixed commission, domestic servant value, DNS allowance, education allowance, gratuity at the time of retirement, and advance salary. Can you anyone tell me the answer of salary? Think
Sir,
and read
is
that
commission
theory. Yes, yes.
Sir, is commission 500 or 50,000?
500 नहीं, 500 नहीं, 50,000. आपको कैसे पता 50,000 होनी चाहिए?
Sir, actually you spoke 50,000 and wrote only 500.
Oh, okay, 50,000. If you want to take this screenshot, you can take it because this will help you in determining the salary. If you want to take this screenshot, that salary includes what? Basic, DA forming, all taxable value of allowances, all taxable monetary benefits, but it does not include any perquisite lump sum payment, lump sum, and then lump sum payment, and here I should have added the word lump sum payment at the time of retirement. जब आप continuity पे लेंगे ये पैसा तो भी आपको lump sum में मिलेगा, but that will become part of salary. Lump sum payment at the time of retirement only. If lump sum payment of gratuity, leave, encashment, these things are received during continuity, it will become part of salary. But lump sum at the time of retirement, that is excluded. Employer's contribution to PF, this is also used, and this point. I hope you have taken the screenshot of this page. Have you taken the screenshot? This will help you in determining the correct answer of that example. You have to apply the theory now yourself. I will help you only when you do not get the answer. Now, I need the answer of salary for the purpose of accommodation. What is the answer of salary? And why we need the correct answer of salary? Because this is the amount which will be multiplied by 15%, 10%, 7.5%, 24%, whatever is the case. So tell me the answer of salary. Take your time and decide which is to be included, which is not. And if included, how much to be included and how much not.
Sir, 11 lakh 13,600.
11 lakh?
13,600.
No. No, that is not the correct answer. Think logically, anyone who can tell me the answer, but
Sir, 1,44,600.
ये तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं हो सकता है. 144 तो हो ही नहीं सकता है. मंथली सैलरी उसकी 80,000 है.
सर जीरो खा गए, एक बार फिर से करो.
Sir, 11 lakh 6,400.
11 lakh?
6,400.
No, Hurry up, try computing it. Let me
So
see who
10
can
lakh
get
8,600.
wrong. Any other who can try? You should try. The voice is breaking.
Sir, 11,20,800.
No, wrong. Let everyone try. Any other answer? Okay, so you tell me, let us solve it. Let us solve it salary for the purpose of accommodation. How much basic salary will be there? How much basic? 80,000 into 12. How much DA forming part? It is 20,000 per month. So that means 20,000 per month into 12 into 60%. So that will be 144. Commission fixed. Will I include commission or not? Will I include this commission or not?
No, sir.
Yes. Where it is mentioned that commission is to be included only on the basis of fixed percentage, I have written all taxable monetary benefits, all taxable monetary. So here I will include all the commissions, whether based on fixed percentage or not. Similarly, education allowance. How much children education allowance I will include?
600.
800 into 12. This was received for 2 children per month. And how much is exempt? 100 per month per child. So 100 into 12 into 2. 2400. So how much will be included? 7,200. Is it clear or not? Domestic servant. This is a perquisite. Every perquisite to be excluded. I will tell you later on how will we determine the perquisite of domestic servant. But if this value is determined, that is of no use to compute salary for the purpose of accommodation value. Gratuity. I would have included this gratuity had I received it during continuity. But gratuity at the time of retirement is not to be included. Advance salary. Will I include advance salary or not?
No, sir.
No, because salary is taken on due
Due
basis.
basis.
Yeah, it was of April 21. It is not of my year. So I will not include. And do this total. You will get. You can check your mistakes now where you are committing the mistake. It is 1161,200. And this salary is used to determine the value of accommodation. And you get in your examination, when you get the question, you have to determine the salary yourself. Examiner will not give this salary. I hope the point is clear. And with this, I have covered my perquisite of accommodation. Next perquisite of motor car, I will start tomorrow in the next class. So please raise your hand if you have understood the value of perquisite of accommodation. This example as well as previous examples of accommodation, any problem you ask, otherwise raise your hand. If you think that yes, accommodation is, you are confident in determining the value of accommodation. Practice, of course, will be required, but conceptual clarity if you think that you have understood. Okay, so that's all. So let us wind up this session. Goodbye.